really love Golden Lady, if Mr. Worthy don't show up, I'll just take Golden Lady out and put Child in there. Okay. If he don't show up. You know what I mean? Unless y'all just really love that too. You know what I'm saying? Okay, ready? Here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe, if we can have your attention, put the stage for just a brief moment. How's everybody doing this evening? Everybody doing all right tonight? Happy Saturday to you all, but allow us to officially welcome you here to Miss Gretchen's Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe. Thank you, Scott. Grosse Pointe Farms and Metro Detroit's premier intimate and award-winning live entertainment venue. We appreciate you spending with us. I have a couple of quick acknowledgments we're going to share with the room real quick, and then we're going to get to exactly why you're here. How about a happy birthday shout out to my man Jason. Where you at, Jason? Happy birthday to you, sir, and thank you for spending your special day with us. We appreciate you. Now, Jason was the only one that wasn't shy about sharing his birthday occasion. Don't want to leave anybody out. Anybody else in the house celebrating a birthday? All the way in the back there. D'Amico, happy birthday to you, brother. Thank you for spending with us. We appreciate you. All right. Since it's the birthdays, I got an anniversary here that we're going to share with the room real quick, and I'm going to sadly interrupt my guy here. Sorry, but we want the world to know about this. 2-year anniversary to Mrs. Abdul Malik is in the house. 2-year anniversary, 2 down, and hopefully many more to go. Thanks for spending with us. Okay, you can go back to work, boss. Thank you. All right, folks. Any other anniversaries in the house? We don't want to leave anybody out. Okay. Anybody in the room celebrating life tonight? That's what we're talking about. All right, so continue to enjoy your good libation, good food, great service, but more importantly, this amazing band. So put your hands together for my main man, Mr. Sean Dobbins and the Sean Dobbins Quartet.
Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe. How's everybody doing? It's Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen. Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe. How's everybody doing? All right, all right, all right. Please join me in welcoming some of my favorite musicians on the planet to the bandstand, starting out with our wonderful guitarist. How about it for the great Luke Sitar, ladies and gentlemen. Keeping the groove alive and well. How about it for the wonderful Cliff Metcalf, ladies and gentlemen. And the world's greatest saxophonist, ladies and gentlemen. Truly one of my favorites of all time, as all these guys are. And you will see him here with his own band in just a couple weeks, so make sure you put that on your calendar as well. How about it, ladies and gentlemen, for the great Marcus Elliott. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus Elliott. Thank you so much. We began our set with a tune formed by the great Marvin Gaye. It was a tune entitled Inner City Blues, and we are so excited that you elected to spend your evening with us, ladies and gentlemen. And you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to spend your time with us. So we have a very special show for you, and we know what we're going to play. We just don't know how we're going to play it. And so we're going to be feeding off of your energy and your spirit and your love. And we're going to take this journey together tonight. Is that all right, ladies and gentlemen? All right, all right. Well, we like to continue. We have some original music for you as well. We like to continue with an original composition right now. Is that all right, ladies and gentlemen? Is that all right? Well, before you agree to this, we would like to let you know that the music was written by the drummer tonight. That can go any direction. Most of these tunes will have 20 to 30 minute drum solos, so I hope that's all right with you. No. This is our second tune. I wrote this tune for my daughter on April 11th. Just a couple weeks ago, she turned 25 years old. My oldest baby turned 25 years old. So I'm so proud of her. And I wrote this I wrote this years ago, and we just put it in the book, but it's so special. When she was in the first grade, I'd pick her up from school early and surprise her and say, we're going out to hang out. And I would just take her out to hang out, and she had the cutest little smiling grin because she was going out to hang out with her dad. And we had such a good time together. So we wanted to offer you this tune this evening, and this is entitled Rima's Day, named after my daughter, Rima Dobbins. And so we invite you to sit back in your seats, enjoy your food, enjoy your drink, and enjoy your experience right here at the Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe. This is Rima's Day. We hope you enjoy. Thank you. Y'all having a good time so far? All right. We're going to continue and offer you a little earth, wind, and fire right now. And we hope you enjoy this one. And if you do not like this song or any other song that we are playing this evening, please write down and put on the paper any concerns or complaints and take them over to Cliff Metcalf, ladies and gentlemen. All right? He'll be happy to discuss your issues with you. We hope you enjoy this one. We hope you enjoy this. And this is our rendition of Can't Hide Love. We hope you like it.
Can't
Thank you. Thank you. We'd like to slow things down to a groove here and offer you a beautiful ballad at this time. I'd like to dedicate this to all you wonderful couples here in the audience, or if you're just here in friendship. But in order for us to properly introduce this tune, we need some audience participation. Is that all right? Okay, when I point to you, I need everybody to laugh. You all right? You ready? Okay. Ready? Here we go. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and the reason why I'm asking you to do that is that I've been telling the same joke for the last 4.5 months to introduce this tune, and I need to keep the streak going because everyone's laughing at the joke. And if I don't, then I have to write some new material, and that takes me for a long time as well. So, you know, the whole comedian thing is just, it takes a lot of stuff, and we're still trying to get the music together. So as long as you participate, I don't have to write any new material. Is that cool? All right? So anyway, we love jazz music because that means we can love everything. And there's so much music, and it's a melting pot of cultures and backgrounds and communities. And that's why I love it. And hey, we're all here right now. We're a melting pot of cultures and communities, ladies and gentlemen, right? We're all here together this evening, right? Enjoying this music. And that's why we love this music. We can love everything. We can love everything. And you know what? By loving everything, we can love everybody. And that's what I think is so important. I grew up having pop radio. And it wasn't Spotify where I got to change the channel or change the songs and stuff. You actually had to listen to different music. And so when you went to school, you just like knew everybody because it was all types of different stuff and you had something to connect with everybody on. So we're going to perform for you a beautiful tune. And this is composed and performed by one of our favorite jazz groups of all time, ladies and gentlemen, the Bee Gees. We did it. All right, good. I don't have to write any more material. All right. Thank you for your continued support. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This will feature wonderful Luke Sittard. And it's a beautiful tune. And we're going to dedicate it to all you wonderful couples in the audience. And we would like to let you know that when we start playing this tune, 2 to 4 bars into it, please lean over to your significant other and let them know that you requested the band to play this song. And we will stay on the bandstand for up to 15 minutes to corroborate your story, okay? And so we hope you enjoy this one. This is a tune by the Bee Gees, and this is entitled, How Deep Is Your Love? We hope you like it. Luke Sittard, ladies and gentlemen, Luke Sittard. Luke Sittard, ladies and gentlemen. Luke Sittard. You guys having fun? All right, all right. Uh-oh. But not as much as tomorrow. All right. Okay. We'll get it in. We'll close with that tonight. Okay. I love it. So we would like to continue, and we have again, we just love so much of this music, and we're inspired by so many different influences and everything, and so we would like to continue with the original composition at this time. Would that be okay? Yeah. All right, Generations, and this is off of our new project entitled "The World We Know." And I've had the honor of being an educator for over 25 years now, which is it's a blessing. And one of the things that I always think about is, with our young people, is thinking about how we can communicate with them and work with them and see how they're doing. And I'm often asking them, how do they feel about, where the world is now? And they've been through a lot. They've been through a lot in this short amount of time in their life. And I often think as an educator, it's important that we remember that we're preparing them for the world that they're entering and not the one that we're leaving behind. So it's important that we communicate with them and understand where they're going. And it's important for them to remember that in order to take the world to the next level, they have to heed and listen to our wisdom. So, and I have 3 beautiful children at home, 25, 23, and 21, 2 sons and a daughter. So, really trying to communicate with them and see how they're seeing, check out how they're seeing the world completely different than how I saw it when I was in my early 20s. And so I wrote this tune thinking about how we can better work together with the next generation and the generations after that. So this tune is simply entitled Generations. We hope you like it. Thank you. That is Generations. And we have a couple of copies at the close of the set if you're interested in taking some music home with you and you want to learn more about the project. And we would like to let you know there is only a few more shopping days left in the holiday season, so you might want to pick up a copy quick. Thank you. And we have just a couple of more songs before we call it a night. And we would like to just let you know who you've been listening to, ladies and gentlemen. Our organist is a band director at West Ottawa Public Schools, and he's been driving over 3.5 hours to be here with us this evening. And he's an unbelievable, special musician, and not only is he a great player, but just deciding to give his life to the next generation and teaching the next generation. And he's very passionate about it too. We talked about it, and making the choice that he wants to see the next group of musicians, have their opportunity. And I think that those kids are very lucky to have a teacher like him, ladies and gentlemen. The great Cliff Metcalf. Our guitarist, in just a couple of weeks, right? On Friday, he will be receiving his master's degree in jazz studies from Michigan State University. Go White. Go White. All right. And wonderful musician. I knew him when he was in high school. He actually played in one of our youth jazz programs, after-school programs. And I've never seen anybody that excited about music all the time. It never stopped. And he would. Oh, okay, y'all do know I teach at Indiana University, but that's cool. All right. That's all right. Go Red. Okay, all right. Nobody. Oh, that's cool. It's all Big Ten to me, so all right, that's cool. Luke, would you say go White, please? All right. He's calling it out, man. Can't ignore. Okay. So, what was I saying? I don't know either. All right. Yeah, he was so excited. Thank you. He was so excited about music and learned his music like every week. I'm so proud of him. And he would. It was a pleasure because we had the opportunity. I directed a big band that he was in. We had our opportunity to go to 2 competitions and won them both, and really exciting. And he is just going to he's got a fantastic career in front of him. And he's going to do amazing things, and it's so good to see the next generation take their place in the music. How about it for Luke Sittard, ladies and gentlemen? Our saxophonist, he is also a graduate of Michigan State University and University of Michigan too. Yes. So it's like gold, maize, and blue, green, white. Yeah, yeah. Gold crayon box. All right. So. But he is currently on faculty at the University of Michigan, and I call him the leader of the next generation of jazz. Truly a remarkable musician, great composer, great arranger, and you will see him with his band here in just a couple of weeks. And not only is he a great musician, but he's also a wonderful husband and father to a little boy named Eli. So just a great person and a wonderful person to have in our community, ladies and gentlemen, the great Marcus Elliott. Great Marcus Elliott. And with that, I say all these things to say that we're about to play the fastest song that we know right now. So I was like pumping them up and getting ready to play. So we are going to offer you a Wes Montgomery composition, and we hope we can get through this. Is this one fast again? Wes Montgomery competition. He said a Wes Montgomery competition. Yeah, that's right. And so we invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to sit back in your seats, buckle your seatbelts, raise your tray tables as we enter tempos unknown. We truly hope to see you at the end. This tune is entitled SOS, and if it gets too fast, you will hear the band yell help. We hope you enjoy this tune, and this one will feature no one in particular. We hope you like it.
was almost 50. So. You got it, man.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. How about it once again for the great Luke Sittard on the guitar. Wonderful Marcus Elliott on the saxophone. Make sure you come out and see him in a couple weeks with his band. The fabulous and magnanimous, the wonderful Cliff Metcalf, ladies and gentlemen. And the fifth member of our ensemble, you don't see him, but he is responsible for the groove, vibe, and spirit. And without him, we cannot do what we do. We're talking about our wonderful sound man, Drew, ladies and gentlemen, at the front. And while you're applauding, please, please, please recognize, I know you've had excellent service tonight. Please, please, please recognize your wonderful wait staff, ladies and gentlemen. I know you've enjoyed your food. Please recognize Chef Andre and his culinary experts. And I know you have enjoyed your drinks because we have the greatest mixologist in the world, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm talking about the good deacon, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's best friend. Deacon Carl Williams, ladies and gentlemen. Deacon, the good Deacon Carl Williams, ladies and gentlemen. The good Deacon Carl Williams. And leading us tonight, we are so blessed to have them, ladies and gentlemen. So blessed to have her, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm talking about our wonderful co-leader, Marina, ladies and gentlemen. Please show her some love. And the man with the plan, my brother from another mother. We love him, and we've been working together since the club opened, and we're so lucky to have him in our community, ladies and gentlemen. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Dr. Willie Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Please show him some love. Well, we'd like to remind you, if this is your first time to the Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe, please don't let it be your last. This is the premier spot in town for food, jazz, and entertainment. And if you can't come back next time, please send a friend in your place, all right? We'd also like to remind you, you don't have to come down here once a day. We just want you to come down here once a week. Come down once a month. It doesn't have to be the Sean Dobbins Organ Quartet, just as long as it's hardcore Dirty Dog Jazz. All right, ladies and gentlemen? So make sure you come out and show them some love. We'd also like to remind you that we've had the history and the honor of talking about great jazz clubs over 50 years. We're talking about Mittens, we're talking about the Cotton Club, and it is up to us to make sure that in 50 to 100 years, we are talking about the Dirty Dog Jazz Cafe. So let's keep it going for the next 50 to 100 years. All right, ladies and gentlemen, is that all right? Yeah. All right. And with that, we're going to break this up before it breaks us down. Your host that loves you the most on the drums, cymbals, sticks, brushes, and everything else that's hidden behind here, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not like the way that I play, my name is Gene Krupa, ladies and gentlemen. If you do, my name is Sean Dobbins. Thank you so much. And before we go over half the band, I do want to let you know this. This is so important. I just want to let you guys know that I know that you made reservations to be here. I know you put this on your calendar. Again, I can't thank you enough for allowing us to present this music to you. It means so much to us, and we're always thinking about you, and we're going to continue to think about you. So thank you for coming out and supporting the club, supporting the music, for inspiring us to keep going, because we do this because we love you and we love this music. So we're going to we're going to call an audible for our last tune. I think we got a request way back in the back, and so I think we're going to honor the request now. Where did that request come from? I can't even see. I got you. Okay. So we're going to dedicate this to you, you wonderful audience. And so we love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Good night. Thank you so much.
Left hand, baby. On the left hand side. Beautiful. That's Billy Sir, man.